Welcome to Strange Familiars. Allison?
Yes? I don't think that's exclusively me.
We're both late, but there's a good reason. The fireworks. So the visual fireworks for the town were yesterday, which kept us from recording. And now we have all the, rando, I bought some fireworks people shooting off fireworks, their own fireworks displays around. So you might hear some fireworks in the background, but...
Pyrotechnics are one of those things that you definitely want to have in the hands of absolute amateurs.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of fireworks. I've gone on this rant before. We'll just leave it there.
I have to say, last night, though, I went out and watched them, and I was like, every couple of years, I'm like, oh.
I'm a little better with the professional displays.
Yeah.
I'm less cool with,
we've, over the years, had lots of neighbors just,
I've had to have words with neighbors who were
shooting
fireworks.
towards their house.
Yeah. That were landing on top of the roof of our house and our garage and stuff. I've had to go have words with them. Plus, it scares the animals. It's like...
Little bit, and especially we've had times where there have been babies in a neighborhood, and I know that people are
our own children, when the kids were real little, I remember going across the street and talking to that lady and just saying, can you please stop? We got babies trying to sleep.
Yeah.
Go somewhere else. Light off your fireworks. It's a lot.
Plus, a lot of people, it's a Thursday. A lot of people have to get up and go to work the next day.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be a buzzkill. I'm just trying to kill fireworks and be a buzzkill. No, it's just not. I'm just not a big fan. But we're not here to talk about fireworks, Allison. I've recently returned from South Dakota. So everybody knew I was going there. I think we kind of kept it locked down where we were going. We went to Pine Ridge Reservation. And we were collecting stories from the locals, mostly about Bigfoot, although we also got stories about little people. We got stories about giant owls and UFOs. So we got quite a selection of stories. The audio conditions while we're collecting these are all over the map. Sometimes we're recording in a busy house. Sometimes we're recording at an outdoor event. Sometimes we're recording in a restaurant. Sometimes we're recording, and there's music going on in the background and this and that. So,
and wind.
And wind, yeah. Hopefully, all of those interviews can be heard in the voice of the people that gave us those stories. But if not, I should be able to hear them. We should be able to get transcripts of the ones that aren't playable on the show. I think most will be playable. And my plan for that is episode 500. I really wanted episode 500 to be something special. I was kind of waiting for the right idea. And then we did this, and I thought, this would be amazing. We go over this again in the audio you're about to hear. I just want to say that almost everybody there has a story. Bigfoot is as real as the clouds or the grass or anything else. It's just an accepted fact. Many people had multiple stories. It was pretty neat. We had a great time. Lucinda invited me. I asked if John could go, and she said yes to that. So it was John, Lucinda, and I. We had wonderful hosts there on the reservation who opened their hearts and their family, and they shared food with us, and they shared their culture with us, and it was absolutely beautiful. And while there is this wonderful community there, and this wonderful culture there, and these beautiful people there, there's also need there. And we want to support, it's a nonprofit that helps the kids. They're trying to build a playground. There's just not a lot for kids to do there. You know as well as I do that kids are going to get in trouble if they don't have anything to do.
Yeah, they find their own way.
Yeah, exactly.
Teenagers find their own way.
Yeah, so they're building a playground, but with basketball courts and things like that, just like to give people something to do. And it's a wonderful project, but they're also working on other projects. They have a lot of community projects they're working on, and we want to support them. And the nonprofit is Kiya.Life. It's Kiya.Life. If you go to their webpage and scroll down towards the bottom, there's a PayPal link. You can just click on that and you can make a PayPal donation. If you can help, please do.
And these were people that you actually met, so you know.
Yeah, these are the people that sort of hosted us. We saw what they're doing. We saw the playground that they're building is in process, I think they're going back to work on it maybe this month. I think they're getting some more grant money, and We saw them feeding people who hadn't been fed in a while. There's a need for clothing, for food, for housing. If you look on the web, you can find a lot of stories about Pine Ridge. And I think you get these romanticized stories, and then you get these stories about, some of the less savory conditions there. The story of the need isn't the story, right? That's part of the story, though.
Well, you can't really gloss over that portion of it.
Exactly. It's not like any other place I've been. It's amazing. Like I said, it's you have this beautiful culture and these beautiful people who are sharing their life and their food, and they're teaching John and I how to set up a teepee. Like, that was amazing for us. That was super amazing for us. They're sharing their land with us. But you drive around Pine Ridge and you see the need there, and it is real. I've seen it, and I feel like I have to try to do something. Yes, I can donate some, but I have strange familiars. We have whatever reach we have. I think we have a fairly big reach for a podcast here. So we're asking that people try to help. And I'm sure there's a lot of different groups that are helping there. But these are the people that hosted us. We saw the work they're doing. They're trying to help kids. They're trying to feed people. All of this is needed there. Once again, it's Kiya.Life, Kiya.Life. The PayPal link's down at the bottom of the page. Just keep scrolling down. You'll see it. There's a PayPal kind of donate button. If you want to send a payment directly to them, the email address for their PayPal is robert@Kiya.Life. And again, that's KIYA.life. So what you'll hear tonight is Lucinda, John, and I discussing our time and our experiences there at Pine Ridge Reservation. In particular, one experience that we spend most of the time with this weird hiker guy we saw. Maybe an unhuman, maybe a shapeshifter. Maybe it was just a dude. I don't know, but it was a very weird situation. And there's some other elements that kind of figure into the story. It's a long one. Let's go ahead and get right to it. Here we are in South Dakota, the strange familiar South Dakota debrief / roundtable with Lucinda. How you doing, Lucinda?
I'm tired, but I'm doing very well.
I think we're all tired. And John is here as well. How you doing, John?
I'm good. I'm also tired, but great.
Yeah, it's been an amazing 5 days.
It's so hard to track. All the days seem to run together.
I don't know.
I guess we've been here 4 days. We had a day of travel.
Okay.
Arrived that evening, Wednesday evening.
Okay.
Yeah, we got in very,
and we've been going
late.
kind of nonstop for 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been going nonstop for 4 days. Back and forth to different places, and then we go one place, something will happen, or there'll be a story. We leave, we think about it, we eat, we talk about it, and then we go back to investigate again.
Yeah.
And then in between, there's people that have a story and have a story. I think the theme for the trip, or the major arc, is everyone has a story.
Right? No, like literally.
Everyone has a story.
Literally everyone, including the person who said, "Oh no, I don't believe in that stuff."
Right.
Yeah.
But that's only like one person.
Right.
Because everyone has a story.
Right.
And then what you do get is, well, I don't share it because essentially no one's asking.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to seem, I don't want to get looked at funny.
So we're on Pine Ridge Reservation.
In South Dakota.
And it's interesting because when you initially pitched this to me, Lucinda invited me and John as well, and we're lucky to be here, so thank you for that.
My pleasure.
But when you initially pitched this to me, and these might not be your exact words, but it was something along the line of, they're having an active Bigfoot flap right now.
Yeah.
But talking to these people, it seems there is always an active Bigfoot flap.
Yeah. And I guess what I just realized today is that what was actually happening is that my friend who lives out here, we had been talking and we had been talking about Bigfoot. And she says, because you have been talking about Bigfoot to me here, he started coming around.
Oh, yeah, wow.
And that's kind of the takeaway. That's why I said I wish I could record these stories, not just because I think it's important for people to know, not that I think it's a good idea for anybody to come out here and do it DIY, do yourself research, but just because for posterity and so that I feel like I'm not crazy. Really, I'm just looking for my own validation of the things that have happened to me here.
Which we talked about. Do you remember what number episode you were?
Oh, God.
So
it was
a regular episode and then a patron episode as well.
Yeah. I've been on, Strange Familiars twice and Flowered Path once.
Yeah.
Like 312-ish, something.
So,
early 300s.
Basically detailed your experiences here with your first and second visits. Was that correct? Your first and second visits here?
Correct. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right. But yeah, I just wondered with the bigger arch, the bigger conversations were wisdom keeping, essentially. And how do we preserve these stories for the next generation and retain this information and knowledge? And so that's how I got invited out here, among some other things, some kind of nonprofit work that we're trying to do on the reservation over here to help the youth. And so that's how it all started. And I thought you would be a good asset, not just because you had written, Bigfoot the way I know Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Like we're on par with our Bigfoot theory, but also there are a lot of people that wanted to come. Mm-hmm. But it requires a certain emotional constitution to be able to engage. Everybody here is beautiful and amazing, and we've had this great time, and we've had a lot of fun, and there's wonderful things. But there are also struggles, and it takes a certain level of, I think, respect and maturity to be able to navigate those situations.
Yeah. Another thing worth mentioning, I think, before we go any further, is that you had an invite, a host in a sense.
Correct.
You got the okay from them. It was okay to bring us. I wouldn't recommend anybody come here without that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I wouldn't just show up.
Yeah. There's also like the sensitivities of dealing with like native subjects and us not being native.
Right.
So it would have been weird for us to just show up here unannounced and start interviewing people.
Exactly.
And we've spent the last 4 days with really amazing family that's been super generous with their time and stories and bringing in family members and neighbors. And so we're super fortunate in that realm.
Yeah, and I had enough. In the last time I was here was 2001, and I was with another family who are good friends as well. And we were sitting in the living room and talking about Bigfoot. And like, that's what really, pinged me to this whole idea, is that everyone that just happened to be in that room had a Bigfoot story. And like, it was a night of everyone telling their Bigfoot stories. And I was like, wait a minute, and I came back from that thinking, why, I wish I could record that, or why couldn't I record that? And so when talking to my friend recently, I went back to that other family and said, hey, can I record those stories we talked? And they were like, sure, come over, right? Everyone's so nice here. And so it was great because now I had 2 different families, and then we were putting the word out. And then by the time we got here, our host family was saying, oh yeah, and so-and-so's coming, and it just turned out to be like a barbecue of people popping in and telling their stories. Mm-hmm. Indian tacos, we had fry bread tacos.
Amazing.
So good.
And John and I helped put up a teepee. Like,
like all the paranormal investigation aside, like what a trip to be on this land is. A complete honor to see the physical landscape is just gorgeous, and to get to talk to all these people and engage with an entirely different population who have a entirely different set of experiences and struggles and culture than my own has been fantastic.
Yeah, it's beautiful. The land is beautiful. The people are beautiful. I leave deeply affected.
Yeah, this is my second big strange familiars journey where it's been a bit of a life changer.
Yeah.
Yay! That's great.
It's pretty
that
wild.
makes me really happy.
Yeah.
No, this is big. And you'll be hearing us talk about this more going forward. This is sort of like a intro to what is coming kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and while ideas are fresh, because we're still here right now.
Right.
Yeah,
We're still here. I mean, this is how fresh it is. Literally this morning at breakfast, I started chatting up the girl, the lady at the register. Told her I was here collecting Bigfoot stories, and she said, "Oh, my mom has a ton," and called her mom, and we have her mother's phone number here, and we're about to call her after this round table to get more stories. How many stories do you think we legitimately have right now? I have no idea.
Dozens.
Really?
Now, whether that's 1 dozen or more, not from dozens of people, but
No.
but dozens of stories.
Yeah.
So, because some people had 5 stories.
It's amazing the multitude of stories people have.
Yeah.
And some of the folks we talk to talk about them in such a nonchalant way, like, oh yeah, Bigfoot came by. It's just a normal part of life to a certain degree.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Bigfoot is real in the way any other animal is real here.
In the way that the rain is real.
Right.
Like, it
There's-
rained this
there's
week. Bigfoot came by this week.
There is no question about it. There's no question about it.
It's no different than a rattlesnake here.
Yeah.
In that a rattlesnake, if you encounter one, it's going to kind of creep up on you probably. You're going to be surprised to encounter it, and you really don't want to engage with it. You just kind of want to get out because you don't know its disposition, and it's dangerous because you don't know a lot about it, right? That's exactly what it is here.
Yeah. And in the same way, I think some people are going to be fascinated by the rattlesnake and kind of stand there and watch it, and some people are going to run.
And some people just bolt.
Yeah.
The other thing is, you guys know there are certain locations. So there are Bigfoot stories associated with certain properties. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And so there might be many, many stories about one particular location.
Yeah, and a lot of times, because I'm not incredibly familiar with the map, we talk to one person and they'd reference a story on a particular patch of land, and we go to another person and they'd reference a story, and then either as they're telling it or even later we'd realize, oh, they're actually talking about the same patch of land the other people were, but maybe they live on the other side of that patch of land or something like that, and we're just like, oh, it's the same general area they're talking about. Yeah.
And we've only been on a fairly small percentage of Pine Ridge.
Right. This is a tiny part of it.
We're in a pocket here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to expand out further.
Yeah. What's the rest of the
of
the reservation like?
Yeah. We didn't do a lot of the kind of standard tourist stuff, maybe for better or worse. Maybe we should have, but we had so much to do with this. But I don't regret a second of it.
Yeah.
Because of the people. We did have, some things happen to us, which we're about to talk about, but the one place in the hills there, where we had the major thing that we're going to talk about.
We'll get to that.
If that's all I got to see, I'd be good.
Yeah.
It was just beautiful.
I'm always more interested in seeing real people and talking to real people and experiencing communities than I am landmarks or tourist traps. And the physical landscape, I'm not sure it gets better than this.
Yeah, and we got the tour, much like Indiana.
Yeah,
we got the tour from a person who knows the land, who took us around
For generations.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And said, look at this, and look, and not even talking about woo stuff at this point, just literally talking about the land. This is where this happens, and this is where I hunt, and this is this, and it's just amazing to like get that kind of tour, because we were back in there a good bit. Like we were back in there.
We're in the backcountry, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I loved that. I absolutely loved it. You know, add the woo to it, bonus for me, but you know, that I absolutely loved it. So the tour that he gave us was essentially a loop through the hills, let's call it. You know? And super generous of him to do that, and informative, and John's finding plants and going, oh wow, this is, you know, this is this and this is that, and we're finding, you know, sort of areas of power, of, you know, maybe you want to call it a fairy hill, whatever you want to call it.
I found a fairy circle.
Yeah, that we're drawn to, and that, you know.
Well, and keep that in mind, that we did leave an offering at a fairy circle.
We absolutely did.
Because that plays out later.
So that was on the tour. As we're touring through the hills, Lucinda basically said, hey, stop here. And we stopped and we got out, and there was a mound.
I didn't even notice
and
the
there was
mound.
really 2 or 3 circles of trees on this mound.
Right. It led up. And what I noticed about it, that it was a bunch of pines and they were in a circle. But there was an entrance, and that's what caught my eye, because it almost looked like, in passing, in my peripheral vision, it looked like an arch, like an opening. Mm-hmm. And then it struck me, and then I looked at the ground, and everything was kind of dry, but right at the entrance to that arch was a bunch of like this beautiful young sage and like little wildflowers. And I was like, oh, it almost looked like a welcome mat, you know what I mean? Like it just like looked like this entrance carpet, you know, to come into this thing. And then I looked at the main entrance tree, and it branched off in a way that, if you study the Lakota Sundance, the tree that's chosen is a cottonwood, and it's chosen with a particular branch opening that opens in a pattern pointing to the constellation Orion, because it's part of like the cradle universe, like a womb, you know. Mm-hmm. And so I was like getting pinged with all these things, like, oh, like first of all, like this thing is catching my attention, and then like look at this entrance, look at something that looks like an opening into this, and then the trees were in a circle formation, and then the main entering tree looked like a Sundance tree, and then I looked at the other ones and they looked like Orion's belt. Like everything looked like a weird, like it just like kept pinging at each other, and I was like, stop.
It was like one circle led to another as you go up.
Yeah, they were like,
go up the hill.
Yeah. Like a moon phase almost, like it, like they got smaller. And I had all my goodies in the car, right? I had my my offerings for fairy, my sage, my offerings for, you know, for being on native land. And so we all did our own little ceremony. We did a little offering and ceremony there.
This is as we go on the tour. I'd forgotten about the offerings. That is an important. I'd forgotten them in terms of what else happened. Let's say that. Like
right.
I didn't forget
and
about
the tea.
Yeah, we harvested for tea that day.
Yeah,
we harvested for tea. That day.
Yes, which we shall get to. Yeah. We did the tea thing.
We did the tea.
I forgot about that. That I forgot about. So, I did want to mention, you know, as we complete this circle through the hills. This is during the day. So we saw wild horses. How amazing is that?
Oh my gosh!
Oh, the
we had
wild
to stop
horses!
More than once because there were horses across the road.
Yeah.
That just roamed the backcountry.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful horses. Like stunning. Like the kind of horses you see in like cowboy movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're like,
well, the kind you see in the paintings.
Yeah.
You know, and you think, oh, they're embellishing or something.
Yeah.
No, they're that beautiful.
Stunning horses.
Yeah, like wild Lakota horses that have just like hundreds of acres to frolic.
Yeah.
And be free.
Yeah.
And there's little colts with them.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's the mom. So sweet.
It's just awesome. It's just awesome.
And they were probably, 10 feet away from us? 15 feet, would you say?
Yeah. I mean,
It's just like right there.
they're just hanging on the road, and some of them stepped to the side while we went by. And then others, some crazy good photos from them.
So we come back and we say to our hosts, would it be possible to come back tonight? We'd love to come back tonight. Can we get your permission? And they said, sure. Because they're beautiful, lovely people and great hosts, you know. And we'd like to go back into the hills and see what we can see, right?
Little nighttime tour.
Yeah.
We said Skywatch.
Yeah.
We said, just go poke around a little bit.
Well, and we didn't mention this, but part of the reason we wanted to go up there at night and look is because they have seen things in the sky and orbs and whatnot. And, and so we're like, well, let's go to a high vantage point. And I think it was that spot where he had said that over across the way was like the one like cigar shaped craft that people had seen.
So
there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
As usual.
Yeah.
So my friend's partner is very...
he's like the skeptic, right?
He's very engineering minded, which we absolutely appreciate.
Absolutely.
He's far more skeptical.
He was the Allison of this that we need. Like, no, it's good.
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
It's good to have skeptics. It's good.
Because he was our barometer, didn't you know? It's like I was throwing things out and seeing how does he react? And he was very polite. So first of all, he was very kind about the whole thing.
Yeah.
He's very patient with us.
Yep.
But he did the classic, have you seen anything? No, I haven't seen anything. And I go hunting. I'm an avid hunter my whole life. I'm out in those woods,
I don't believe in that stuff.
I don't believe, I've never seen anything like that. And then my friend says, well, what about the lights? He was like, well, there was this one time.
I won't say it's without fail, but it happens so often. So often when people say, I got nothing. And I'm like, well, there was this one thing.
Except that one time. They'll say that.
So he goes and tells us this amazing UFO story.
Yeah,
right.
Pretty intense.
Right.
Like, not I saw a weird light in the sky UFO. This is a intense multi-light thing that, one of the descriptions was a train in the sky.
Yeah, a train in the sky that eventually blinked out one light at a time as if it was going through an unseen tunnel or portal.
An invisible tunnel or portal.
And that this was over their neighborhood, and neighbors saw it.
Not far. They saw it not far from where we were going to see what we saw.
It was right there.
Yeah.
Over the Pahuska. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the area that we're talking about. So we know that this area that we're tracing and driving through is very active with Bigfoot, and we also have confirmation that it's active in the sky because it's over this family's house, and this family's been on this land for generations. So
and the area where this family is, they said, is often noted. Like, people say, oh, there's a UFO above this land,
right,
like this happens more than once.
right.
Like, people from other parts.
People from other districts will name this district, and they'll say it's over this particular district.
Yeah. So we go up the hill. We're driving up. There's 5 of us in the car.
Is this the nighttime?
Yeah. So we're returning at night.
Well, then we have to stop.
Had we done the tea prior to that?
We did do the tea.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah.
We came back to eat dinner.
Yes.
We came back to the hotel because we wanted to eat and then grab stuff for nighttime, right? And you texted me and said, hey, if you want to come to our room, we're going to do our little tea thing. And I was like, I'm all for it, because I forage my own sage for sage tea, and I do my own foraging at home for my own teas. So I was like, I'm all for it. And John said, I got permission to forage some things, and he made a tea.
Yeah. So this is what we did in Indiana. John does this all the time.
It's just what I do.
Yeah.
But we kind of, in Indiana, Tyler and Tim and I kind of turned it into a little bit of a nightly ritual, and with a little bit more little more intention than just having a cup of tea. But
I think Tyler said, it's like we're imbibing the land, and that really had some resonance and some meaning to it. Me. And I started doing it at home. The first thing I did when I got back from Indiana was go to Hex Hollow, harvest some spice bush, and make tea from Hex Hollow. Because it seemed really important to me. it felt like the right thing to do, you know. Okay, if we're doing this, if there's a connection to the land, if imbibe the land, especially like we don't have the connection of time necessarily, right? We don't live in Indiana, we don't live here in South Dakota.
Right.
So it's a way to sort of make that connection a little more without the investment of time, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even though I do live, you know, very close to Hex Hollow, I realized it was something that I hadn't done at home, and I felt like I want to start doing this at home too. But yeah, no, I think Tyler was on to something with that.
Yeah,
I think
it's
very
the kind of thing that I've done my whole life, not my whole life, but for a very long time without really putting it into terms like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it is about like connection to place, and forging the same plants in one location is going to have a different effect on another location depending on how you feel about where you're getting it and why you're getting it, what your intentions are.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we did it in Indiana, and it felt good and felt right, and why not do it here as well?
Continue the ritual. So what do you remember? What exactly went into the tea?
Yeah, it was really like, and when I do this in a space like this, my goal is really like the imbibing of the land in this case, and not necessarily harvesting a certain thing for a certain flavor or a certain effect. It's like, what is here that we could incorporate in a tea, and let's do all of it almost like a blend of the land itself.
Yeah.
And so this had some mullein leaves for Bascom. It had some white sage, which is a really sacred plant.
Which you were given permission to harvest.
Which was a really big, almost like emotional moment for me to like have a Lakota man give me permission to harvest white sage from their land.
Yeah.
For my use.
Yeah.
It was really meaningful to me. And then just because it was there, some wild salsify, which is not something I usually use in tea. It's more of like a cooked grain or salad grain, but it is of the land and certainly could put it in tea. And so it was those three, which made a really nice, it was very heavy on the sage flavor, kind of dominant, but
Which is great.
yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah. Then off we go, back to the land.
Back out.
And we were happy that my friend and her partner decided to come.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because I wasn't sure if they were just going to say, like, oh.
I don't know if I would have, especially the first night we were there, I don't know if I would have felt right with them not going with us.
Yeah, I was glad.
Yeah.
I was glad they did.
This is a piece of land that it's nice to have someone local with.
Yes,
us.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We're definitely outsiders.
It's nice
here.
to have someone local if you're going to the grocery store here. You know what I mean? It's just good. Yeah.
Yeah, and for that reason, but also because we're unfamiliar with the roads and all the different trails this way, that way.
Right. Yeah. These are not roads that people.
No.
When we say road and people are saying road, these are.
It's a dirt path.
That's
That's overgrown with spring bushes.
Yeah.
We put the rental car to the test.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. We really needed like a 4-wheel drive and did not have one.
Yeah, all-wheel drive did fine.
Yeah.
I was
times
fairly stressed at times.
Yeah, there were times where I'm like, ooh, okay,
Yeah,
I'll try.
Cringing.
I'm thinking we should have bought the extra protection.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But,
I just had to put it out of my mind.
Yeah, in the moment, we just had to do it.
I just had to put it out of my mind and say, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'll deal with that when I have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point, you're driving downhill through brush that is taller than the hood.
Yeah.
And we're just like, and he's laughing. He's like, no, you're good. The road's under there. I know you can't see, but it's there.
Yeah.
And there's bumps in the road. It was.
I had made a joke. So we were waiting for Lucinda to get in her flight. We're just driving around Rapid City.
Yeah.
And we got to see a cool like Norwegian church. And and at one point we drove up this really windy road to the top of this small mountain, high hill.
Yeah, like an overlook kind of thing.
Yeah. And I was making a joke. I said, John, on the way down, I'm just going to blindfold myself and you'll direct me and we'll see how we do. The road was super windy. I felt like that's what was happening.
Yeah, that was kind of a funny foreshadow.
I was essentially blindfolded and he's just like, no, over to the left a little.
That really is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. It was very much like, but he knew it well. Like he said, there's a dip over here. You need to go to the left.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't see a thing. Okay.
Yeah. It's like it's grass that's 5 feet high.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're going to hit a dip, go cut a little to the left. And I'm like, how do you know?
Because he knows the land.
That's ridiculous.
He knows the land.
And then, the tire would go down. You hit this pocket, boom, dump a little and like keep going.
So right now, my saving grace on not getting any kind of penalty charges or whatever for damaging the rental car is that they will not look underneath of it.
Yeah. Don't look
Because we bottomed out so much.
So many times.
So they will walk around it, and hopefully there's...
Yeah.
I mean, it looks scratched, but I think it's just dust and everything else. So,
Yeah.
But hopefully we don't get pinged for anything of that. But
Fingers crossed.
if they go underneath...
They're going to be like, what did you do?
Right?
It's pretty clear we were off-roading in that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's covered in dust.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
In each of these breaks, I just want to remind everybody, if you'd like to donate, if you'd like to help out there on Pine Ridge, the nonprofit we're supporting is Kiya.Life. It's Kiya.Life. That's their website. Go ahead and check it out. You can see some of the projects they're doing right there on the website. They have pictures. Scroll down to the bottom. There's the PayPal donate button. If you can afford to donate, if you can afford to help them out, please do.
We're proceeding up into the hills, and the first thing I saw, we're
Wait, do we want to preface with what he said before?
Remind me. Go ahead. But
In the day when we trekked up, because this is part of what of what surprised me the most. I asked him, remember, I said, do people come out here? Because it looked like we were out in this, it's this beautiful, the sky is huge, and it's these rolling hills and
prairie
little
hills and ponderosa pines. It's
yes,
gorgeous.
it's so pretty, and it looks like you're in another time. It looks like you're back in time. And I asked, like, do a lot of people come up here? And he said, no, because we're kind of in the back country, and where they live is back off the road. So I feel like we're in like a back country, right?
Yeah.
And so I said, do a lot of people come out around here? And he said, no, only the people that kind of live out here, and everyone kind of knows each other. And he said it's good because we know if like someone's out here, they're up to no good if we don't know them. But he said, no, most people aren't going to come out around here.
Yeah.
Which is why we were surprised.
Yeah. The first thing I saw was the dog as we're driving up this hill.
First thing I saw was the dog. The dog was, as we came around the turn to get to kind of like the highest point of where we were planning to park and look around, because you had this great vantage point, and you guys tell me what you saw. But as we turned that corner to come up, first I saw a dog that looked adorable, like a quintessential res dog, right? And the dog like looked back at us and then like trotted up, which is when I saw it. So the dog trotting up drew my eye up, and the first thing I saw was this enormous staff. And I thought of your hiking stick, like your hiking staff.
So my old hiking staff was quite thick for a hiking staff.
Okay.
I saw this guy's staff and I was like, that is a ridiculously large hiking stick. Why would you do that to yourself? When you are hiking, it's energy. Every one of these is energy. And mine's heavy enough. My old one's heavier than my new one.
Yeah, because your staff is your leg, right? And it's like lifting your leg to take a step, but you're lifting your leg and the staff to take a step. Right?
I'm thinking, one of many thoughts I have as we see this guy. So the people that are with us, our local guides, husband and wife, husband's sitting next to me in the front seat, front passenger seat. I'm driving.
Tim's driving.
The three of you are in the back, so his wife and you two. He saw him first. He said, "Oh, there's a hiker up here." I didn't see. I saw the dog. I'm like, and I'm like, "Look, where? What?"
And he was surprised. He said, "Oh, there's a hiker up here."
Yeah. Then I see. So then I see. First thing I notice is this ridiculous staff.
Right.
It's such a waste of calories.
So huge.
It's just
and
tall, not just thick.
He
but
looked like a normal sized man.
Mm-hmm.
So we can assume he was somewhere between like 5'10" to 6'1" or something.
Yeah, he was tall enough.
And so assuming he was like, I mean, I guess I would just say the staff was probably a foot taller than he was. Does that sound accurate?
Easily a foot taller than he was.
And he couldn't wrap his hand around the staff.
Nope.
No, it's a giant.
His hand was not going. His hand was hitting maybe like the midpoint, a tiny bit more of the staff.
I began calling it a pole. Like,
right.
It was more than a pole.
It looked like a teepee pole. When you guys put up the teepee pole, was that...
I mean...
What diameter would you say that is?
It looks like if I would put my hand around a 2-inch piece of PVC pipe.
One of the smaller teepee poles, maybe, is a good estimate.
Right.
2 to 3 inch pipe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he had 3 other dogs with him, so 4 dogs in total.
Right.
4 dogs, giant staff. He was packed out. Big backpack, as if he was really on a long hiking trip. As I think you said, if he was in like the California redwoods or something.
Yeah, to me,
or like the Appalachian Trail or something.
What stood out is I was like, he looks like a hippie dude from California. Like he looks like someone I'm going to see in like the redwoods. And though it's very funny that the interest to me it just I see him and I'm like, what are you doing here, redwoods? Like that is my exact thought. Like, what are you doing here, redwoods?
So the other thing to like just take a step back, and we're gonna have to take a big step back when we're done this conversation because we forgot to tell something that happened the first night we were here. But to take a step back in this conversation and not interrupt the flow too much. The first thing, and we agreed because I started asking everybody. I was like, what is the first thing you noticed? What stood out about that guy? The walking stick, the staff.
Giant staff, big pole.
I asked you, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We asked our hosts, same thing. But then we each took something different away.
Yeah.
Otherwise. I looked and I noticed the beard. And not to make it about me, but it was I just like, that dude's got my beard. Like just in an interesting way. Like, oh, he's kind of styled his beard the way I style mine.
See, and I didn't see his beard like yours. I saw him with a full kind of more square beard, not like a goatee kind of beard.
Really? Yeah, I thought it was long like mine. And
it was long. It was like the length of yours.
I may have been wrong. And I'm driving, so I don't have a lot of time to like observe. Not that we were driving fast. You know, it's like 15 miles an hour maybe. We're on these tracks.
He was wearing sunglasses.
See, I didn't pick that up at all.
Really?
Sunglasses.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's interesting.
He was wearing sunglasses.
Do you remember that?
Nope.
What? Did you see his eyes?
Yep. So
now, as a caveat of my observations, I'm worried about. I love dogs, and I'm worried about the dogs. Right. So I'm driving. I'm worried the dog's going to run out.
Not right now.
I take a glance at him.
Yeah.
Quickly, and I see a beard, and immediately, you know, not a lot of Lakota are wearing big beards.
Right.
So I immediately went, probably not a local.
Okay.
I saw him as a white guy. Our host said he saw him.
He said he looked Mexican.
Mexican. You said he looked like a redwoods hiker, which presumably is.
But to me, his skin was darker. I just thought he might be like that. A lot of years of sun kind of tan. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like. Mm-hmm.
So. Again, when we first came upon this person up here where we expected to see no one and the surprise from our host, it gave me a slight edge of uneasiness. And so I'm like, who is this guy? And is it a problem? Are we cool?
Right.
And I guess in those kind of situations, my inclination is always to assess that through engagement. And so I waved to him from the back seat because I was on his side.
John waved.
He waved back. Now, The
And then I waved because I didn't know you waved, and I just thought he was waving at me, so I
the
waved
reason
at
I'm
him.
fairly certain he wasn't wearing sunglasses is because when I waved, I remember he looked over at me and we made eye contact.
That's right, you said that.
Yeah, and so, and it's funny too to hear the others say like, I think he was this or that, because I feel like I couldn't see his skin because like I feel like it was getting so dark that it was just dark.
It's so wild.
What? No, there was still some light out.
My memory is that like almost as if you were seeing someone in silhouette, like he's dark, but I can see. I made eye contact with him. This is I shit you not, as my father would say.
All right. So you also saw he had a fairly big pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. I knew he had a pack, but I didn't.
Did you clock the pack?
The size.
I clocked the pack. I didn't clock it as like it was wide. I didn't see it like a big pack, but like I knew he was wearing a backpack,
It
like a
looked to
hiker.
me not like a day pack, but like somebody who was out backpacking.
Yes, correct.
Like I've got all my gear for 4 or
Yes.
5 days back here on my back. I got my 4 dogs.
Did
and my
you see
unreasonably
something
large staff.
rolled up on it, like when you roll up your little
Yeah,
mat
yeah.
or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I saw that too.
Yeah, like he had a rucksack or a sleeping bag back there or something.
Yes. Okay.
So he was walking where we had
planned to park.
We had before this we had planned to park here, and our host says, "Let's just go up and turn around and come back.
Kind of give him time to
Give
pass.
him time to pass." And we went up, and we walked it today.
Yeah,
We saw where we turned around.
it was not far.
100 yards.
100 yards.
100 yards. I turned around
3-point turn
and headed back, and I thought, because our host said, "Oh, just turn around here. It's a nice flat spot."
Mm-hmm.
I was going to keep going a little further, but he knows, so I'm taking his advice, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so I turned around and I thought, this does not give him enough time to pass that area.
Yeah, I was like, this is going to be awkward because we're going to end up parking right behind him. It's going to freak him out.
Exactly. Now it looks like we passed him and turned around
Yeah.
Yeah.
and are coming back.
We're gonna
just made
creep
sure
out this poor guy who's by
Yeah.
himself, and there's 5 of us.
And this is the top of a hill we're parking at. We have a vantage point.
Of everything.
Yeah, this path is on a ridge line. So
Yeah. We got we can see all around.
we got a steep drop on both. Not super steep, but a pretty strong incline on both sides down.
And the first thing we said was, where did he go?
He's gone.
Where did he go? And we get out of the car. And John immediately goes and starts looking over the hill.
Yeah, because that side, the opposite side of the road was a drop enough that you couldn't really see it from the car. So I sort of walked to the edge, so to speak, and looked down because I was initially like, where the hell is this guy at?
Right? I went to the other side of the road.
Yeah.
And look, because I'm like, well, maybe he went that way.
Yeah.
And that was a long drop.
Massive pack on his back.
Humongous walking pole.
4 dogs.
Okay, 4 dogs, and we know that one tends to wander a little away from the
Lag
pack.
behind.
Lag behind.
Yeah.
One is like a lagger that's smelling extra stuff. So my concern was like, as soon as we got out of the car, I was, I'm like, where's the guy? Where are the dogs? Right? And I saw John immediately bolt out to find it because we all just assumed he was going to be on the ridge line where he was. And I thought, well, that's no problem. We'll just chat him up a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's got dogs and a staff. Like, he's a hippie dude. Like, this is not gonna be a problem. We'll put him at ease, right? The other thing is, why didn't I think, I should ask his Bigfoot stories because he's hiking here, and I did not think to ask him that.
Yeah.
We didn't have a chance.
But he wasn't there, and so I scanned both sides of the ridge, looking for him, and then that's when I noticed John was already off the ridge, looking for him. You went down because you were already.
I was like, this guy's got to be in eyesight.
Yeah.
Right.
We can see the road in both. Again, I'm calling it a road. Whatever we were driving on, this dirt path. We can see it in both directions.
Yeah, I should say it's a 1-car ridge line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a one dirt road.
No, if he stayed on the road, we would have seen him either direction. If he dropped off on either side, we should have seen him.
And just to point out too, what's happening on both sides is open field, and at the bottom there are sparse lodgepole pines. Now, lodgepoles grow in a way that are different than other pines in that they prune bottom branches, and so you're not going to get limbs until it's up like 15 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
So even in the sparse section of lodgepoles, you can see through at the bottom.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, it's a little uneven, and there's some like little gullies here and there. And sure, it's theoretically possible that this guy could like lay on the ground in a gully with his 4 dogs laying down if he had sprinted there with all that gear. But it's ridiculous. Absurd.
For
why?
an hour while we're up there.
Yeah,
an hour
we
and a
stayed.
half.
Yeah, because we stayed in that spot then
Yeah.
until well after dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were.
We were an hour and a half easy.
It was
We were up
light. I remember thinking, I think we got here a little too early
there.
because it was just dusk, and we had to wait for all the light to leave because we were going to skywatch.
Right.
We were there a long time.
Mm-hmm. 4 of us. 4 of us are like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Where did he go?
Okay, 4 of us were thinking that. Only one of us, my friend, who was like,
Yeah.
yo, where did where to go?
No,
Hey,
John
where did
and I
you
were
go?
having an aside. John and I were like, I was like, where's
Where's this
Okay,
guy?
and-
Yeah.
we should see him. We should see him. John and I were literally like,
Okay.
I'm like, because I'm like, I often look to John to make sure I'm not being too woo.
Right.
So I'm looking at John, I'm like, we should see him, right? We should see him. And John's like, oh yeah, we should see him.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is not right. And John's like, this is not right. I was like, okay, all right.
Okay, no one was saying that around me because I was
No,
with my friend who was already kind
We're
of freaked
trying.
out.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
She was a little freaked out.
We didn't want to upset her anymore, and her husband is just so overconfident. Oh no,
Adamant.
he went down there.
He went down that path.
That path right there. That's
he
where
went down that way to that farm way over yonder.
And we're just like, how?
How?
Like how fast is this guy with his giant pole and his 4 dogs?
And his 40-pound pack.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Like, how? So it's 4 of us are agreed. We're all for,
Yeah.
this is.
We should say, like, from my perspective, nobody mentioned the hiker for the rest of the night
We kind of did let it go at some point.
until, there might have been like a little.
Well, because he was so confident. Like,
Well, yeah, because he was just like, no.
she's like, no. And I wanted to have the conversation
Yeah.
away from him where it was just like, no, that was weird.
And
right?
he was confident to the point where we're not discussing this almost. Not that he was
Exactly.
saying that.
Exactly.
But it was clear he
That
was
was-
trying to.
Or like a no need to discuss it.
Yeah, but he had. There was a vibe where he's like, I don't want to talk about
Yeah,
this.
we're done.
Yeah.
I
Not in an unkind way.
No,
or anything.
but he solved it.
Yeah.
Right, in the way that that's
No. He went down there. It's fine. It's over.
wait, we don't have to do that problem because that problem has been solved.
Wait a
You know?
second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, and that could just be because my friend lives in that area but doesn't go up to this area because it gives her the creeps. She feels very uncomfortable in the area we were in. And then we go back and there's a hiker, and so now she's on super freak out high alert, and she's looking at me like, I told you.
speaking of her being creeped out,
Yeah.
I did not think this detail was going to be important at all until today when we went back to this area.
Yes.
He says, hey, look at that down there. And
To spook her.
there's a black shape down there.
With a flashlight, so he's got a beam on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I look over and I'm like, what is that? And
I did too.
100%, my honest first thought was, Mothman. Like it looked like something like black crouching in, and I'm like,
I thought like Dogman.
okay.
That's where because I thought it was a black dog crouched with his like paws tucked and his head tucked, like his chin tucked down.
And I'm just like, what is that?
I was waiting for it to pop up. Like I'm waiting for a
it
head
looked like
to...
something like crouched.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the head to pop up from that body.
And again, he very confidently says, "Oh, somebody left some car seats down there."
And I'm like, car seats?
Well, I've actually seen car seats in the woods. Like sometimes people take an old car, rip out the seats, and like they'll have like a place to sit. Then, right? You know.
Yeah, but nobody goes there,
Right?
And it's untouched. And so I thought, like, it's some sort of like maybe like a blanket or something that got rolled up, or like a tarp or something that might be used because there's cattle around there. It's like something got rolled up in a tarp. But when he said car seat, I was like, cars? Like that's what you're coming up with? That's what kind of threw me off too.
Well,
like,
the other thing is he said it so confidently that I thought, well, maybe he saw that earlier or something. when we
Yeah.
went
that's
through
what
it.
I thought too. I was
He
like,
knows
look,
there's an old set of car seats sitting out there or
Yeah.
something.
yeah.
So,
Important to mention how much the wind picked up.
yeah.
A lot. Like gust.
Yeah.
Got very gusty.
The wind was,
And nonstop.
uncomfortably
Yeah.
like gusty. Like where it was like, oh, this is not as much fun as I wanted to be sky watching because this
Yeah.
wind is just whipping.
And it started blowing dust, like little dust.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, this trail is very like loose,
Yeah.
dry soil.
We stayed out there, like we said, an hour and a half. I don't know what it was, but the stars came out. We did some stargazing.
Saw some shooting stars, saw some satellites going
Beautiful landscape. You can look across for I don't know how many dozens or hundreds of miles and just into the landscape. Because it's the plains, you can just see forever, and it's gorgeous. And then we go.
Yeah, call it a night.
And we come back to the hotel. And we go to sleep because we're tired.
Mm-hmm.
I have this dream. And the dream is the exact same thing. We're driving in the car. We're going up the hill. We see the guy with the oversized hiking pole. I don't think the dogs were in my dreams. I don't know if that matters or not. But he was. He's in the same place. We go up, we turn around, we come back. And he's Bigfoot. And now the hiking staff makes sense because it's the proper size for Bigfoot. And I wake up from this dream. No, it wasn't a scary dream or anything, but I wake up. I had to use the restroom. So I wake up. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, the walking stick makes sense now. And I can't wait to tell everybody in the morning, like, I had this dream. So when we went to your other friend's house, and we're talking to her.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
So then the next day,
Yeah.
I should say, the wooded area where the Bigfoot sightings happen, of the two families that I know, they live on opposite sides of the same woods, the same wooded area. So we were with one family and we explored that, and there was the weird hiker. And then the next day we go to visit the other family, the other house, who is the one that I visited in 2021 that had the family with all the Bigfoot stories.
And she is an older woman. I don't know if we want to give her age away.
She's an elder.
She's a very open and kind person. And she told us some Bigfoot stories as well. And then she starts talking to us.
Well, let me say, I love her to pieces, and when you see her, she always has a big smile on her face.
Yeah.
She's a wonderful, joyous, joyful woman. And so I see her, I haven't seen her in a few years, and I give her a big giant hug, just like I always do, and I introduce her to you two. So she's never met you two. So we come in the house, and she sits us down in the living room. She's got a big smile, and she looks at Tim because she knows. She goes, "So you're here for Bigfoot stories?" And I said, Yeah, and she comes over and she looks like Tim. She gives him this big beaming smile and she says, "You look like Bigfoot."
You look like Bigfoot. Which, at the moment, didn't hit me as anything until then we start comparing notes on Mr. Giant Pole. And I was like, not to make it about me, guys, but I looked at his beard and I was like, he's got my beard. And then when she says to me, "You look like Bigfoot," like when we're talking about, then I make the connection. Oh, like I look at this guy, I have a dream of him as Bigfoot, then it makes sense. And then she says, "You look like Bigfoot," and the thing that I took away was like, oh, his beard looks like mine.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, strange.
yeah, that was really cool. We're talking to her, and we're telling her a little. She's like, after she tells us her Bigfoot stories,
Yeah.
you were talking to another person that was there, and then she kind of starts talking to John and I. She's like, "Well, tell me about
Yes.
you," and
Yeah.
you know, we tell her about Indiana a little bit, and she's like, "This is like you guys are like on an initiation, and this is like a
On a
path,
journey.
a path you're on, and this is all part of it for you." And it's just really, these aren't impossible observations to make, but I think they're keen observations to make,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Right?
She's very wise.
And very interesting for someone who's like, these are the kind of words we use in Where Did the Road Go and Strange Familiars round tables, you know, initiation and blah, blah, blah. And for her to use these kind of words, and she's not embroiled in that world, you know, she's it was particularly interesting to me.
Yeah.
And she said to me, "So you're looking for Bigfoot?" I was like, yeah. She said, "Have you ever thought about just asking? Just ask Bigfoot to appear to you."
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought?
I should say, this friend was married to a 38th generation Lakota medicine man.
Right.
So she's not. She's very, very intelligent and very, very knowledgeable in the medicine ways.
Mm-hmm.
And her husband and his father, I know, and we all know, they worked with the Bigfoot. And they called the Bigfoot a master healer. They said Bigfoot is a master healer, which resonated with me because my encounters were not scary at all. My encounters were really profound in that I was more surprised at like the purity of the energy of the Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't for something that seemingly looks and smells bad, you know,
Mm-hmm.
It was not at all. And that's what was so profound to me about my experiences. And because I kind of very much respect and feel a connection to those medicine men and this woman in particular who's a mentor to me, like a mama to me out there, and they're like family to me when I'm staying in Pine Ridge and stuff too. So for her, when she tells me something, I'm listening.
Mm-hmm.
And she knows beyond what she's telling us, but she's being respectful to the medicine and to the culture. So for what she is telling us is already wise and profound.
She said that with a smile on her face, and not like a "I know something you don't know" smile, not a sinister smile, not like a "I'm hiding something" smile, a smile of pure kindness.
And the smile of someone who's like a teacher.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what? When, like, you know, I had told her that you had written books on Bigfoot, and so she's like, oh, okay, so, but then it's kind of like, so you're here looking for Bigfoot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then you said yes, and then she said something like, well, have you just asked him?
Yeah. Have you just asked to see him?
Asked to see
I
him.
think she asked if you've seen Bigfoot.
Yeah, I told her
Right.
some like the Toad Road story where I saw something. I'm not sure what it was. Right.
Yeah, but
Right.
I think if I remember, you maybe said like, I would like to see him.
Yeah.
Yes.
I said I'm ready.
I'm ready to
Yeah.
see him.
I said I wasn't before, but now I'm ready.
Yeah, and I think she said, have you thought about just asking?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Have you thought about just
But
asking?
it's the kind of smile where she's smiling with her eyes too. You know,
Yeah.
it was
She
just
smiles
very
with her eyes.
like
Yeah.
knowing, but not in a sinister way. Smile.
Right.
Right. I'm just kind of stuttering because I almost feel silly now because I'm like, no, I haven't.
Yeah.
But I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was big.
Yeah.
After that was done, before leaving the property, I wanted to walk up to the cemetery.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to walk to the cemetery because that's where the medicine men are buried in some of the relatives, family member there. So I wanted to walk to the cemetery, and then I wanted to walk to the Sundance grounds because the family has their own Sundance. We walked up there to the cemetery, the four of us, so the daughter of the medicine man and the three of us walked to the cemetery, and we did our little prayer and left our offering. And then we went to the Sundance grounds. We walked to the Sundance grounds. And at the same time, we're just walking, but at the same time, like something, I feel like a zap on my hand, like something zaps my hand. And like when you're walking your gait and you're swinging your hand, like I swung my hand. My hand wasn't even swinging that much, but something just like zapped my hand, and I kind of like was rubbing my hand, and it was sending this pulse like a sting, like if something stings you and it does that like weird nerve pulse sensation through your hand. And I was looking for the sting, and there was nothing on my hand, but it felt like a sting. At the exact same time, Tim got stung by something.
Oh, yeah. It hurt.
But you didn't see what stung you. Mine hurt too, but it was totally invisible. Like there's no sign of a sting.
I got a big old welt on my arm.
Yeah, you still do. I can see it from here.
I assume it was a horsefly, but I'm not entirely sure.
But would a horsefly do that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It hurt. So, what? Just referencing other Strange Familiars episodes and things. I had peed right before that happened. However, I did.
Did you?
I did warn and apologize.
Okay.
I did the thing this time. On this land, I wasn't going to play. I had asked,
and you got permission.
Yeah. I said, "Is it okay if I relieve myself over there?" She said, "Oh, sure." But I did pee, like right before that happened, and then zap.
And here's why I mention this, because when I agreed to come on this trip, I was a little nervous. So for reference, this is my 5th trip to Pine Ridge, and every time I come out here, I experience a lot of high strangeness leading up to these trips, and then while I'm on these trips. But the way it played out, one of the ways it played out before coming here, was that in a span of 10 days, 4 times on my property, 3 on my property, and once at an intersection in town where I live, a swarm of bees, a huge swarm of bees, flew through my body while I'm outside.
Once again, a reminder that Kiya.Life is the nonprofit at Pine Ridge Reservation that we're trying to help. Kiya.Life, Kiya.Life. Check out their website, scroll down towards the bottom of the page and look for that PayPal donate button. If you can afford to help them out, please do.
So the first time it happened, I was watering the lawn, and I had kept hearing, that morning I kept hearing this, and I remember my son came out, and that was out by my barn, which is not close to the house. And my son came out to me, and I said, "Wait, don't stop where you are." I said, "Just listen, do you hear that?" And it was, and he goes, "Yeah, what's that?" And I said, "That's bees." I said, "There's a hive somewhere." And so I said, "Let's go check the house. Let's go look around the barn." So we couldn't find a hive anywhere. And that was like at 10 in the morning. So at like 7, like at dusk, I'm watering, and the swarm, and now I'm up by my house, and the swarm passes like through my body, and I just like, I was still holding the hose, and I was like, please don't sting me, please don't sting me, please don't sting me. And I was just like all locked up, and I could feel them. They were like knocking into my back and my hair and like getting caught, and like they were just like I could see them going right by my eyeball. It was just like, oh my God. My mother's very allergic to bees, so I was just like, okay. And I just thought that was significant. I knew that was significant. And I said, I think that's a blessing, because I practice shamanism, and bee shamanism is a real thing. And so we revere bees, and so I think I considered it a blessing. They didn't sting me. And then it happened like 2 more times. I was in my chicken coop, and I could hear, and I literally, all my little young chickens went, they got scared, and they went and huddled in the corner, and the swarm like moved through like me through the chicken coop. Like I was like again, and it happened by another part of my property. This is like inside of 10 days. And so I'm thinking, okay, there's a hive, there's a queen, she's looking for a hive, and so they're just moving around looking for this hive. That's what I decided. Then I'm 5 miles away at an intersection, and the swarm comes through the intersection while I'm at the red light, and I have to like roll up the windows really quick, and my kids are in the car, and they're like, oh my God, are those bees? Like, what is that? I was like, those are the bees. So it's like they did that just to tell me, don't downplay this thing. And that's when I was like, okay, I got you, I'm listening, blessing. And then it didn't happen again. So the fact that I've just been like, what is that about? And then I'm literally at the Sundance grounds. And that's the Sundance grounds where in 2021, I went to a Sundance, but things went kind of weird and the families had problems. And I've done all my prayers and apologies and like, just how can I help this? And I think part of why I'm even here, this trip, has to do with just being in those Sundance grounds again, to just once again make amends. How can I help? How can I serve? And something invisible stung me. Something invisible stung me, and and remember, like, it was hours later, and I was like, do you still feel like the shooting nerve pain?
Absolutely, I did. Yeah.
Like I don't have a mark on me. Like, it was right on the little, what is this, the heel of your palm?
Yeah.
Not a scratch, not a little dot or anything. It's not even red.
Last night, after a wonderful day of family and just being invited to experience parts of Lakota culture that I'm lucky to have been there.
Yeah.
This is when we got to put up the TP. This is
So this part, for me, this trip is a 2-parter, and the guys here knew what it was going to be about. So part 1 was the Bigfoot stories, but the main part is that I'm scouting 501c basically. So I'm the Southern California co-chair of my employee indigenous network. So I work for a big employer, a big corporation, and we do a lot of outreach for youth to help them if they're interested in STEM and, anything STEM or STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, math. And my friend is working on a youth camp and trying to build a playground and trying to help the youth, get them into something, keep them occupied, out of trouble. And so she set up a wonderful day of ribbon skirts, making ribbon skirts for the young girls. There was archery for the boys. And we bought a ton of groceries to make what we call Indian tacos, so fry bread tacos. And there was fun and food and watermelon. I mean, some kids don't get to eat a lot at all. So times are hard here. So we wanted to just tell them, come eat, come have a good time, come relax. And that's what we did.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
It was just a lovely day. And we talked to some people about Bigfoot, but we also talked to some people about their lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was, so our host's mother, talk about your elder.
Yeah.
And a sweet woman. And John and I sat there, and sure, she told us a couple of Bigfoot stories.
Yeah.
But then she just started talking about her life. And it was just super amazing just to be able to sit there and just listen to her, like talk about her life, and like what an experience.
Yeah.
Like what an
super
experience.
touching.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Bigfoot isn't even what's interesting about her.
Yeah.
Like, forget that.
Bigfoot's always interesting, but no, like that was good. That was great. But it was the wonderful part was to hear her talk about her life, right?
Yeah.
Like
She took care of foster children for decades on the reservation.
And it's still taking care of people.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and she's still taking care of people.
In her 80s. She's still taking care. So just really meaningful moment. Just all of it was super meaningful and super, like, any one of these things, I would, I think at some point, Lucinda, you were like, is there enough here for you, Tim? Like you can't, I mean, and I mean, really, day one, there was enough. Any one of these days was enough.
Yeah, thank you.
Altogether, it's been life-changing. Like, just one of these just wonderful, I take this in my heart, I will take it in my heart from here on, and it's been fabulous. But they say, hey, come back tonight, you can hang out in the teepee and see the stars again. Of course, we're going to, who's going to say no to that, right? So we go back again, and again, this is on that same property. This isn't up in the hills, but it's on the same patch of property.
It's on the powwow grounds, I should say.
And we're hanging out, and they came out to hang out with us, and the sky here is not like the sky in Pennsylvania or even in Massachusetts, where my friend lived out towards western Massachusetts in a cabin, very remote. Not a lot of light pollution there, but you don't get the same expanse of sky there because there's trees and mountains and whatnot. The expanse of sky here is something I've never seen in my life, and it's amazing. It's so huge, and the Milky Way comes out, and we're seeing shooting stars, and it's just stunning.
Yeah.
You can see from the night sky the silhouette of the teepee and then the Big Dipper right behind it. It's just,
some of the photos you guys took are wow.
It's like something out of a
like a painting or something.
Yeah, out of a painting.
Really, really amazing.
Just gorgeous.
And I keep sort of walking away, partly because I was trying to warm up. It was chilly.
Yeah.
And I was trying. If I walk around, I'll warm up a bit. Partly because I can't be but Tim from Strange Familiars. So I'm walking a little bit away, like maybe I'll hear something here, maybe I'll see something there, blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at the hills, and our host cousin told us some stories, quite a few stories. And one of the stories he told, he was on that hill, and he said he was coming down, and he was paced by a Bigfoot at night. And I'm looking at that hill. And he had just showed me that day because he was at the event, and he's literally with his hands, and I was coming down that hill.
Yeah,
there.
It's great.
And I'm looking at that hill, and I'm sort of not miles away from you guys. I'm feet away from you guys, but I'm off by myself, and I'm in the dark, and I'm thinking, and I was like, oh, I really want to see something, and I said, I'm ready now, and I'm saying that, and as I'm saying that, I'm like, she told you to ask. She didn't say, I'm ready now. Well, she didn't tell me to do anything. She said, have you thought about it? If she told me to ask, I don't know if I would have taken it. You know what I mean? Like,
because you're oppositional.
I am a little bit.
I have learned that on this trip.
She said, have you thought about asking? Or something like that. But I'm like, I'm ready. I can handle it now. I'm ready. And then I said, no. I backed up and I said, can I see you? Like, I'm speaking to Bigfoot here. And I didn't hear a voice. There was no voice. I didn't hear mine speak. I felt in my heart an answer. And it was, you already have. I don't know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
But I immediately thought of the guy with the stick.
Yeah.
My mind immediately went there.
Yeah.
Or maybe to my dream. Maybe the message was, no, you saw me in the dream. You saw me. I don't know. Maybe it's just silly, I'm creating something.
Yeah.
Wonderful night. Nothing super eventful happened as far as, woo stuff. Right?
Well, no, let me stop there, because what I first saw right away was in the distance between two trees, a very bright white streak of light that went from right to left and fizzled out. And then all the lightning bugs, everyone was like lightning bugs. Now, we don't have lightning bugs, aka fireflies, in California. So I rely on you. I have seen them before in the South, and they do like a slow on, slow off.
Yeah, that's what ours do.
Yeah.
I have never seen a lightning bug do this, but and let me say, I've seen lightning bugs here on Pine Ridge, and I have never seen them do what they were doing last night. This morning, I got a text from my friend saying one of the lights last night was Bigfoot. The lightning bugs was his disguise to come see you. All of us.
Oh, interesting.
She said, one of the lights went back behind us, behind the teepee, and I heard a thump at my car. And I was so tired, and she couldn't even sit. That's when she said, we gotta go. I'm like, okay, you're here. I'm going to bed, since I see it in a nice way. So she says, because we had done that celebration in the day, because it was about family and food and getting everybody together.
And there was,
and it was in the same grounds, and there was prayer, and there was a spirit plate.
Yeah,
and
that's absolutely worth noting. There was a spirit plate.
Yeah. She said, and this is what she said, we've never seen bugs do that.
Interesting.
He wasn't saying it last night.
Right.
Because they were tired, because they had hosted that whole event, okay?
Right. Yeah. No.
She said they seemed overly bright and big.
They were very bright and
they were way too bright.
And their flashing pattern was at times a little stroby.
Yeah, spastic almost.
When I first saw that one and I said, remember I said, there's a light over there. I just saw a bright light move past.
So I thought I saw that, and then her husband immediately says, oh, that's a firefly.
Right, he said a lightning bug right away. But when I first, I'm just saying, when I first saw
and
it,
you said at the time, you said no, that wasn't that.
What came was fairy light, will-o'-the-wisp.
Mm-hmm.
And what I told her was that I wonder if it had to do with the fairy offering circle.
I mean, hey, maybe.
All I know is I've never seen that before.
When you first said it, because I went, oh yeah. But then he said, so confidently, as he does, no, that's a lightning bug.
Lightning bug.
And there were lightning bugs, and I kind of defaulted to, I guess that is a lightning bug.
Yeah, I just took him at his word because I had never seen lightning bugs like that.
But my initial thought when he said it was like, no, it was white.
It was bright white.
Yeah.
And it streaked across from one tree to the other.
Yeah.
And none of the other ones I saw were really doing that. They were like on and then off, and then you'd see them on. Like you could kind of trace it and know that it was probably the same bug.
Mm-hmm.
But that was...
Yeah, that was...
And the thing is, those trees, if you look at the first day when she took us out, those trees are where she had a Bigfoot and the little people sighting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the spot
Sure.
on the property. And so...
One of the spots.
That's one of the many. So another interesting thing that we should just note before we forget is that part of me coming out too, because we talk all the time, and she was like, I think I got a portal in my property somewhere. And I was like, you got a portal, I'm your girl. And so that first day, remember I went out there to the back and I said, what's over there? She goes, that's where the Inipi used to be. So that's where their sweat lodge was.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, it's not there anymore? And she goes, no. And I was like, it doesn't know it's not there. That's what I said. So there's still like energy pouring in and out of there. Because she said, something's coming in and out on my property and being in my property. And I was like, it's that. Okay. When we first got there, the family wasn't down at the powwow grounds. They were up at the house. And so when we first got there, we were hanging out for a little while. And the dog, who already knew us, came down, but it was dusk. And so he was kind of barking at us and like didn't like giving us he was just barking, like looking at us, but barking, looking at us. And then what I noticed right away is that he moved off a little ways from us, maybe about 10 feet. And he was barking, but he wasn't barking at us. He was barking at where I said the portal was.
Yeah,
and it was dusk.
He was focused in that direction.
And he was focused and barking, and then like turning an eye to us, but then looking straight at the thing, like. And so I was like, "Are you giving me the dog? Like I don't want to make, full eye contact with you, and I'm scared and I'm barking, or are you telling us that there's something there?" Mm-hmm. And I didn't think too much, except for the air quote lightning bugs started coming from that direction. Mm-hmm. And then remember you guys heard something that sounded like kids and we weren't sure.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
Wow.
From that direction, right before you said that, the reason why I was so quiet is because at some point I heard a hive. I heard and I was like, where is that coming from? And it sounded like machinery or a hive. And my friend has had that machinery sound on the property, that weird and so I was my ear was focused to that, and I heard the little kids too, and you were like, that sounded like children. I heard you say that. And
late at night,
which is not, which is very possible, but there's no kids out there.
Pretty far away would be the next house.
They would have to be on the other side of the road.
Yeah, highways up there.
Possible, but unlikely. Let's say that.
Yeah.
And there's tree breaks there to break up the sound.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it sounded like
there's nobody there in those houses, that are right off that main road.
Yeah.
And when you come off from the main road, you can come and you can fork, right? Mm-hmm. And that fork doesn't take you to the other house. It doesn't take you. It takes you to the Pahasga, I think. And then this one goes to that. So I'm just thinking the children sounds are not coming from our side of the highway. You'd have to go way, and remember when I said the property's not off the highway, you have to drive in from the highway to the property. You have to drive all the way out, cross the line of the property, and then drive all the way to the other side of the property to find a trailer way out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a trek.
Yeah, those sounds were odd.
Yeah.
And I hope they turned up. I had the recorder running, so hopefully they'll
they had to have. They were loud. I heard them too.
Hopefully they'll turn up. With faraway sounds, sometimes it can be really crisp to your ears, but because they're far away, the recorder just doesn't do that well. But we will see.
Okay.
I'll pull them out if I can.
Our experience at Pine Ridge was amazing. It was life-changing, and it was completely moving. That's why I really want to help out Kiya.Life. It's a nonprofit there, Kiya.Life. Once again, if you can afford to donate to what they're doing, if you'd like to support the work they're doing, which is truly good work, it's Kiya.Life. Check out their website. Scroll down towards the bottom of the page. You'll see a PayPal donate link. You can click that and just donate whatever you can to help them out. It's Kiya.Life. Kiya.Life.
So today, after collecting some more stories and talking some more and a wonderful conversation, and I feel like I've made new friends, which is always a lovely thing. And they said, "What do you want to do?" And we said, "Let's go back to where we were, because we want to sort of look for footprints, and let's take some not like tape measurements, but just like some measurements in the sense of like, let's get an idea of how far we drove after we before we parked and where we turned around.
See if it was really feasible that this
Yeah.
guy could have hiked out of there fast enough that we wouldn't have seen him.
Right.
And I think we can all say that we've done this long enough where we are trying to avoid the thing where we go back home and go, why didn't I just go the next day and look for where I wanted to know where exactly did we do that 3-point turn, and can I have John be where the hiker was, and let's drive out and have him try to hike down and hide. Like, we wanted to recreate the whole thing. Yeah.
So drive up. We saw where we turned around. We turned around the exact same time. We parked where we parked before, and we get out and we start looking, and our male host.
Who we love, by the way.
Yeah,
we're
great guy.
We're picking on him.
I could talk to him for hours.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I love this guy. Barrels into the field, looking for footprints.
Yeah,
So-
I'm gonna track this guy. Show you that he went down this road.
Keep in mind, he's a hiker, or he's a
He's
hunter,
a hunter. Yeah.
and so he's going to track.
And he's finding some pretty reasonable idea of footprints. Like they weren't
he's
super clear, but
finding some spots where
and we're talking about human foot. We're not talking about Bigfoot. Footprints.
yeah, we're talking about areas where it looked like somebody had walked through there at some point and
Yeah.
tramped down the grass.
But I'm saying, yeah, that's not the point. The point is, how did he disappear so quickly?
Yeah.
But he's very determined to show us where he went. I don't care where he went. I care how quick he got there, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's my question. How quick he got there. And I'm sort of following along. You're following him. I'm following the both of you. I'm behind both of you.
I'm trying to keep up because he is just barreling through.
He is just, it's like, I think, yeah, look, here's one, and he's
He's
going
like,
to the next one.
here's one. I'm like,
And by the
wait.
time you get to his, you're like, okay, which are his tracks and which are the hiker's tracks, if they were the hiker's tracks. And by the time I get there, I'm like, well, which tracks are his, which tracks are John's, which tracks are the hiker's?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I didn't see any other set of tracks. I was following the grass was pushed down by his.
To be clear, we
So
don't
that's-
know for a fact that any of these tracks were the hiker's tracks.
No,
Right,
we don't
right.
know where the hiker freaking disappeared.
But as we're down in this area that he had to pass through, which would have been the same area where the quote unquote car seat was. I'm looking around because at this point I've given up following our host because he's just barreling through there.
Yeah,
I cannot keep up with him.
He's doing his stuff.
I cannot keep up with him. And I catch up to you and I said, remember that car seat that was out here?
Mm-hmm.
Where is it?
Where indeed?
And then John starts looking for the car seat. He goes, John says, I don't know.
It's gone.
And you start walking through the field looking for the car seat.
Mm-hmm.
I walk back up to the top of the hill because I want to look for the car seat from up high again, right? Maybe I have a different vantage point from up top. There's no car seat.
No.
There's no big black thing which he was calling a car seat.
Right.
I'm going to change the way we talk about it right
Absolutely,
now.
yeah.
There's no big black object which he said was a car seat. The wind's blowing today. The wind is blowing nowhere near as hard as it was that night.
Yeah.
He comes back up, and you said, sort of very innocently, "Hey, remember that car seat that was out here?"
Oh yeah. Where is it?
Yeah.
Where was that at?
And he starts looking around.
Momentarily with a bit of confusion,
Yeah.
like us.
Yeah.
And then he says, wind must have blown it flat.
"Yeah, we must have blown it down."
Wind must have blown it flat.
Yeah.
What do you mean the wind must have blown it flat?
Must have blown it flat. In other words, it's
But
out there, we just can't see
But
it.
it would be flat, but still black. I mean, you could see it's the one black thing in the sea
In the
of
sea-
green and yellow.
And yeah.
I'm with you on that.
I'm totally with you on that. But that's his explanation. But the wind was blowing super hard that night.
Yeah.
If it was going to get blown over, it would have been blown over the night we were there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, there was no wind yesterday, so we're the original the hiker was 2 nights ago, and then that night was super windy, and then yesterday was beautiful, and there was a couple of little gusts and a little breeze, but
no, it wasn't.
and then today we go back. And all of a sudden, the wind kicks up again, like
once we get up
ragey.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't as hard as it was that night, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
blowing. It was blowing up today for sure.
It was blowing up enough that I noticed it.
And it's blown up enough that when we decided we were going to take some video today, my first thought was, this is going to work because we're not going to hear the audio. It's wind blowing too hard.
Right, and I couldn't wear my hat because my hat kept trying
Yeah.
to blow off. So that's how I know it's really windy if I can't wear my hat.
Yeah.
No one's going up there to clean up this place. In fact, I cleaned up a bunch of like beer cans and stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
so
As we're walking, no one went out there to pick up car seats.
No one's picking up a beer can, let alone a car seat.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So we have a quote-unquote car seat that has vanished.
Yeah, not a car seat, but yes,
Whatever it was.
a big black object in the field.
There was a big black object in the field.
Which Lucinda and I both got the feeling something was crouching there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right after our hiker goes missing.
Right after a hiker disappears. And his 4 dogs.
Yeah.
Worth noting, if this guy's going to disappear, he's got to corral 4 dogs, or they have to be super well trained.
Mm-hmm.
Which they weren't, or else they would have flanked. They would have been flanking him already. They weren't flanking like trained dogs. They were flanking like dogs just sniffing around.
They're not on leashes. These dogs are loose.
Totally
Correct.
unleashed.
He has to get him and the dogs out of sight quickly
While carrying
while carrying a huge pack and
Huge
a
pack and a-
ridiculous pole.
huge pole.
In the time that we go up 100 yards, do a 3-point turn, and come back. He's got to disappear. The 4 dogs have to disappear.
So if we were going to time that in minutes, how many minutes would that be?
You timed it. A minute.
Yeah, I was timing the drive back, and it was about a minute.
A minute.
Yeah.
So he'd need
He has 60 seconds to vanish from that ridgeline.
Completely.
With full
I'm trying to be
visibility.
pragmatic and rational here, and
With
I
full visibility on all sides.
Without a trace.
Yeah.
That, my friends, was an unhuman. That was an unperson. Whether it was a shape-shifting Bigfoot that then shape-shifted into a black object in the field, I will not say, I cannot say. That was an unperson. That was not a regular human being.
Absolutely not.
I'm confident in saying that.
Yeah. Which is a weird thing to be confident in,
Yep.
but there it is.
There was no building for him to go into. There was no... The ridiculous explanation becomes the only explanation at some point.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Weird twist on Occam's razor.
He either disappears or transforms into something else in the landscape. There's something in the landscape at that point around where he was
That
that
is
is
no
not
longer there today.
That is not there.
Man, and it's that moment which makes you think, man, I really wish I'd looked a little harder at that quote-unquote car seat black object.
He called it. One thing I did notice was a little movement in it, and I thought it was the wind blowing it a little bit.
Uh-huh.
It was a little movement in it, and I thought, car seats don't blow in the wind. But again, he was so confident of it that I just went with it.
Oh gosh.
Well, we need that though. We need somebody.
We do need it. We need the skeptic. We need the confidence. We need someone to be able to look at something analytically and not get swayed by the romanticism of the paranormal. However, we also need to be able to be as analytical and not be swayed by that confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. I mean, I thank him profusely because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have gone back today. Because it was that like,
Absolutely.
oh, but
It was his confidence that made,
and we're just like,
we're like, no, let's go try this out.
yeah, and I'm like, I'm just so like,
you're absolutely right.
stumbled by it that I'm like, I gotta go back. What do you think? You know, you guys were walking the trail. I walked. How far did I walk?
A quarter mile or more? I don't know.
We had to go pick you up.
I walked so far. You guys had to come drive and get me because I'm like, I just walked down that road like looking for anything.
Anything. Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say the next time we're doing something like this, I will be thinking of that black object, and it will change the way I'm observing what we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, there's a thing, but wait, what is the thing? Like, let's take a moment. You know,
Right.
Now, we have to rewind all the way back to our drive-in.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I think I know where you're going with this, unless it's something different. So where?
The
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's part of a bigger pattern.
We're rewinding.
Hold on, rewind a little more.
We're driving in. We're in South Dakota.
Sorry.
The three of us together. And we're driving in, and we literally enter the reservation.
And it's almost midnight
Yeah.
because our plane got late.
Because
delayed.
my plane was super, super, super late all the time. Thank you, Denver. Continue.
And almost immediately we see an owl. Flew right across in front of us.
Did it fly across, or was it like in the road and took off as we got
Okay,
closer?
that's what it was.
On the
Yeah.
right side of the road
Yeah.
and then took off towards the right as
Yeah.
soon as it saw us.
Essentially in front of us. But yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't fly across the windshield, but you know.
Yeah.
And we all three see it and go, oh, owl. And,
Yeah.
And I said, there's our owl, or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we drive a little further. Not a minute, probably. I don't know how long
A few
it was.
minutes at most.
Yeah, like a few minutes.
And then another owl.
Another owl. In the road again. Flew off to the right again.
And then we drive. I wish we had a timer.
I really do.
It would be interesting to see if the timing was the same between them.
I'm curious about those intervals.
And then a third owl.
Same thing. In the road. Flies off to the right again.
Same kind of owl each time.
Same kind of owl each time.
3
owls.
3 of us.
Mm-hmm.
We had a 3 moment in Indiana too,
Yeah.
which we never talked about, which will be part of the Indiana story,
Yeah.
where we were like 3 of us symbolized in 3 of something else.
Yeah.
3 of us, 3 owls.
There you go.
Super interesting.
Yeah.
3 owls. All 3 same kind of owl. 3 doing the same thing. All 3.
3 of the same dog except for the big dog. Those 3 other dogs look exactly the same little what.
The other thing there where I thought you were going on the first night is the Nighthawks. Just the sheer volume of Nighthawks.
I had forgotten about
Oh, she said that was for me, remember?
So,
she was
yeah.
like, they know you're here.
Again with the bird thing.
I've never seen a nighthawk at all.
No, we don't have them back home.
And he's like, oh, you guys never seen a nighthawk? No. I mean, I knew they were a thing, but I've never seen one.
Yeah.
Certainly not in person. Maybe I saw one on a nature documentary one time or something, but not in person.
So-
Super cool.
Oh, that was when we came back before seeing the hiker. That happened right before we
It
saw the
absolutely
hiker.
was. It absolutely was.
Because we came back
It
to the
absolutely
house
was.
and we were outside
Yep.
coming in,
Yeah.
and then they
'Cause
came out.
we were kind of waiting for them to get
Yeah.
ready to go
I was
with us.
with the
Right.
little baby on the front, and one came by, and then he said, "Oh, wow, that's a nighthawk. We haven't seen that." And then she came out and she said, "It's because Lucinda's here, right?" Because she goes, "They came." And then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the sky was covered with nighthawks.
Nighthawks. I love barn swallows. Like I love them, and I love watching them. I always have as a kid.
Yeah, me too.
At the barn, I just watch them fly. I love you knew they're catching insects by their flight pattern. I just would love to watch them, and these are like barn swallows on steroids. You know, like barn swallows times 10.
I first thought they were giant. Like at first one I thought it was a really big bat. Mm-hmm. They have sort of that barn swallowy / bat flutter
pattern because they're catching insects.
Yeah, like a swift.
Yeah, and they're so cool looking.
So cool.
And I was just like, wow, I've never seen. And and then it's like, and then they said, "Oh, we've never seen this many."
Yeah, that's what she said. That's why she said it's because you're here.
Yeah,
and then she says, "I know it's a blessing." She goes, "It's because you're here." And I said, "Well, I don't know." And then she goes, "Yes, it is, because look." And she pointed at the Pahaska, and on top of the Pahaska,
I forgot about that.
One of the nighthawks.
No, that was a hawk.
That was like a red tail.
That was a red tail, and it had caught air, and it was just fluttering in place.
It's solitary in the sky.
And she said that. So I'll say. So the Lakota medicine man is named Pete Catches, and that is who came to me in dream time, and that is how I even got on the reservation to begin with, in 2019. In 2016 is when this all started. But she knew him as Uncle Pete. And she said, "That's Uncle Pete." And she goes, "I know because Uncle Pete always said he would come in the form like that." He said, "When you see a hawk that's fluttering in place, like catching air, and it's just hovering by itself." She goes, that's Uncle Pete. Now, Pete is my mentor and her uncle. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so that's another reason why we're good friends. And I was like, "Oh my God, that's Uncle Pete." Or, yeah, that's Pete. You know, I just know him as Pete. Right. And then I was like, "Are you sure?" And then just as I said that, like another one came on top of the other Pahaska. There's like 3 Pahaskas. There's the other 3. There's 3 Pahaskas. Mm-hmm. And Old Man, afraid of his horse, is buried on one of them. So that was the other. So, then the other one was fluttering. And then she said, "That's my Grandma Nellie."
So there's nighthawks flying around at the same time. There are these 2 hawks above the Pahaskas, essentially
just in place, hovering in place like hummingbirds.
I've never seen a hawk do that before. I didn't know they could do that. It's amazing.
Well, and again, not to this is not about
magical,
not about me. But my mind immediately goes to me coming out of that cave in Indiana, and that bird,
the bird that fluttered in
hovering
face.
in front of my face,
in place. And
I said to you, and you said, "What had to be a hummingbird because they're the only birds that can hover." And I said, "It absolutely was not a hummingbird."
No, we don't know what that was.
But
good Lord, man,
this. I'm like, there's like another hovering bird.
So there's
right.
So then that's 3.
That's the third hovering
3
bird?
hovering birds.
Yeah.
That aren't hummingbirds.
No.
Yeah.
No. So like, it was stunning.
Never seen anything like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, really cool.
I don't know how a bird does that to you, because the hawks are like catching a little air pocket, right? And so like it allows them to stay still like that, like they're just kind of hovering. But I don't know if a bird in flight does that to you. Like I've had something like that do that to me, like where they fly up and then they kind of like catch themselves and fly back, but it doesn't hover.
This came out of the cave, and Brian, one of our patrons, happened to be there. He saw it happen. It came out of the cave. It hovered in front of the woman in Indiana whose home we were at the time. Hovered in front of her face, and then just goes over to me and just hovers in front of my face. Like I'm like not
inches,
nowhere. I'm not scared of a bird, but I'm like, is it like, why is it here? What's it going to do?
Like, hello.
Like it's just like right here.
Yeah.
For seconds, not.
Yeah.
And then just like it was like whoop, and it's like, and then away it goes. And I was like,
you don't know what kind of bird it was.
I think it was a flycatcher, but I'm not positive. Like the coloring, it was like It was like a blue and like a gray and blue and a powder blue kind.
Well, that could also make, that would be a good...
It wasn't a cave swallow. I just made that hovering bird connection. But yeah, what a stunning time. Where we stand right now, I hope I will be back.
Yeah.
I think you said something like whenever you leave Pine Ridge, you really never know if you're ever going to be back, and I think that applies to everyone, right?
Yeah, every time I always wonder, is this the last time?
Yeah, I hope I will be back. I really do. I would love to come back, but if I don't, I will carry this trip in my heart forever, no matter what. No matter
yes, always.
I echo that.
Yeah. So that's South Dakota, and so we have stories upon stories upon stories. My plan at this point is to edit these stories, and episode 500 is coming, and would make a very special episode 500.
Yeah.
So that's what I would like to do.
Okay.
And in the meantime, there are ways we can help, and we're going to put together these ways that we can help. This has nothing to do with Strange Familiars. This is helping the people in the ways that we can, which is very important to me. Having been here is very important to me, because we want to help in any way we can, and I think we can do it. I think we can make a small difference in what we do, and perhaps give a small bit back via Strange Familiars. That would make me very happy. Trust us. These stories are amazing. These stories are fantastic. These stories are worth the wait. They're Bigfoot story after Bigfoot story after Bigfoot story. Stories about people getting pulled from their homes. Stories about things getting thrown, massive things getting thrown. It's amazing. Great stories.
Also, like, caveat, keep in mind, there's a lot going on while people are telling their stories. There's houses full of people,
Right.
There's parties going on, there's dogs, there's children, and so...
None of this is recorded in a studio.
Right.
This is going to be, absolutely.
So yeah, Tim said we're going to try to do like people in their actual voices, which is always fun and great, and if hopefully that'll be the case.
Some of these interviews there might be so much background noise but we can still get the transcripts. I'll be able to pull out so, but it'll probably end up being a mix. But there's a lot. It will be at least episode 500. There's at least an episode worth of stories.
Yeah.
There might be multiple, but that's important to me. But the thing I want to do is I want to help, and I want to give back. Trust me, episode 500 will be worth it. And this isn't me doing the Indiana thing, like we don't know how to present it. We've gotten permission to present it. These are going to be everything we heard, you're going to hear. I need time to edit it all together, and I want to make it a special episode for 500. That's the only reason I'm waiting.
We're naming names. Just kidding.
So this isn't another Indiana. Please don't think it is. Like all this information is coming to you, and I'm excited to do it. I'll work on editing it before then, but before that, we will start trying to do what we can to give back.
And we still have a couple, like at least one call more to make, so there might be phone interview conversations too.
There might be yet more. So
Yeah.
All right, Lucinda, thank you. Thank you for inviting us.
Thanks for
Thanks
joining
for
me.
helping make this happen, and it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, and we'll be back with more Strange Familiars.
If you like what you're hearing and you'd like to support Strange Familiars, you can become a patron at Patreon. It's patreon.com/strangefamiliars. All of our patrons get commercial-free versions of the weekly shows, plus extra episodes every month. Last month we did 2, If you want to check out the options, it's patreon.com/strangefamiliars. Right now, the lowest level to get the bonus content is $4 a month. That's probably going up to $5 a month, but if you get in now, you'll be grandfathered in at $4 as long as PayPal lets us do that. It's kind of up to PayPal. They make the rules. We're just using their service. But in the past, they've let us do it. There's people who signed up at $3 a month right at the beginning of the podcast, and some of them are still getting all the bonus episodes for $3 a month, even when we raised it to $4. Patreon.com/strangefamiliars. There's also a version on Apple Podcasts. It's called Patron of the Strange there. If you join there, you also get the commercial-free weekly episodes and the extra episodes monthly. I want to thank all of our patrons, no matter where they're subscribed. All right, Allison, it was a long show, and we're late anyway. So I don't think we're doing a Curiosity of the Week this week.
No, I'd rather people just give that away to...
Send it to Kiya.Life.
Yeah, I'd rather...
Yeah, please do. They were super sweet people. They supported us while we were there. They literally were our tour guides and our guides to the land and the culture. I would love it if Strange Familiars could help them out as well. Kiya.Life, Kiya.Life. That's the website. The PayPal link is there at the bottom of the page. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back soon with more Strange Familiars. Strange Familiars is a production of Dark Holler Arts. Intro and background music is by Stone Breath. If you want to hear more or purchase music, you can go to stonebreath.bandcamp.com. We're on Instagram at Strange Familiars, one word. Please like and follow and do all of the things there on Instagram. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/Strange Familiars. That's where you can join the Strange Familiars gathering group. For Strange Familiars merch, it's strangefamiliars.com/merch. And we're always at strangefamiliars.com. So, quick addendum. As we turn off the recorder, we're literally getting ready to go to sleep for the night. And John and Lucinda start talking about, John's like, I for sure saw his eyes. And Lucinda's like, no, he was wearing sunglasses. And something about that hit me. So...
Wait, but talk about the head. Because John asked, or who just asked me, did you see his head, his hair?
I was pretty sure he was wearing a hood because I saw the beard kind of coming down from the hood.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it hit me. Like listening to Sasquatch Chronicles, listening to all these Bigfoot shows. Two things you often hear about people. It's like, at first I thought it was a guy in a hoodie.
Yeah.
With sunglasses, that's what
and then
said.
Other people say, I thought it was a guy in sunglasses because of the big eyes of the Bigfoot. They'll say I think it was. I thought they'll see the big black eyes.
Okay, when he looked at me and he smiled at me, it was the same little kind of like almost like what popped into my head was Joe Cool, as in Snoopy, with the sunglasses and that little
You said that before,
cool little smirk.
I remember you
That's
saying
how
that.
he smiled at me with that
I
little
remember him smiling at you. He smiled at you?
He sure did, because I waved at him because I thought he was waving at me.
Because I waved at him.
I did not see you.
I waved at him, and I swear when he waved back at me, he looked at me, we made eye contact, and he was not smiling.
He was smiling.
I remember him having my memory of him,
oh my
whatever
God.
that's worth, is that he had two things. First of all, I picture him with a very stoic face, just like no expression. Just looked over me with his eyes and no expression. But the other thing is like when I think it was our host said he thought maybe he was Hispanic.
Yeah.
Like I remember seeing his eyes, but I could not see his skin because he was too dark.
He was too dark.
Or
it was too dark out.
I think it was too dark out, or when I picture it, like it was just he was too dark.
You saw my video that I just showed you. And
Yeah.
how much light there is out.
I couldn't see his skin. He was too
It's
dark.
not even dusk.
He was too dark.
Okay, so here's okay, the back seat is John is behind the driver. My friend is in the middle of the back seat, and I'm behind the passenger. Okay, and the hiker is on the driver's side.
Yeah.
So the hiker is much closer to John.
Yes.
John waves at the hiker, but I don't see John wave at the hiker. I'm looking at the hiker, and I see the hiker wave and look at me with a Joe Cool smile and sunglasses, and I wave back.
Okay.
So we have like two,
So two separate things
and
happen.
we are just, there's one person sitting behind us. Like,
And why did it take till now for me to be like, guy in a hoodie? Because so many Bigfoot witnesses are like,
Yeah.
I thought it was a guy in a hoodie.
I don't remember his hair. I only remember his beard and his face.
I'm 90% sure he was wearing a hood.
So when I say it was too dark, how it looks in my memory is that it's as if you looked at someone through a tinted window, and it was too dark to see the details, the color of his skin.
Oh, yeah,
and their
okay.
face.
Right.
But the windows aren't tinted in that car.
No.
I think he was. It was like
Bigfoot.
This isn't
I think he was a Bigfoot.
freaking unperson. I mean, I don't know. Wow.
There's so many like discrepancies in
Yeah.
what an experience.
Yeah. We all know he was hiking with a big ass pole, though.
Yeah, that's not in debate.
That just made no sense at all.
Why did no one take a photo of this guy?
Because he was just a hiker.
It was just a hiker.
Until he wasn't.
Until he wasn't. Until he vanished.
Yeah, because we didn't know he was a disappearing hiker. That's something photo worthy.
Really, really freaky stuff in retrospect.
Okay, that was.
But I remember his eyeballs
Right.
making eye contact with me.
Right.
And no expression on his face.
Have you seen where the crows go? Have you seen where they fly? Have you seen where the crows go to fold up their wings and die? Have you heard the gray wolves call? Have you heard how they cry? Have you seen where the wolves go to lay down their heads and die? Where do they go under skies of red? Where do they part the quick from the dead? Have you felt the cold night air as you lie in your bed? Have you felt the cold night air whispering the words of the dead? Have you seen the sleepwalkers as they drift out of sight? Have you heard the sleepwalkers chanting as they roam through the night? do they go? Under skies of red. Where do they part? The quick from the dead. Have you seen where the crows go? Have you seen where they fly? Have you seen where the